Hi, guys. Welcome. Welcome into my second live. This is Michelle. I'm here with Life Evolve with Michelle. And I wanted to do a live stream today to chat with you on some of the topics that I've done and also to answer any questions or take any comments or any suggestions on maybe some of the topics that you would like to see. So, again, welcome into the channel. When you come in, if you don't get to come into the live, which is now, if you leave me a question or answer, question or a message in the chat, I will definitely get back to you. I'm doing a little message here to let you know that questions are welcome. And again, welcome into the chat. I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers, all of the new people who just joined my channel. I want to say thank you, welcome in, and I hope that you are enjoying all the information that I'm sharing and that it has been or it is being beneficial to you. The goal for this channel was to document my experience here in Panama and also talk a little bit about my experience and take any questions. So some people may be interested in trying to relocate into a different area or another country. And so I have that experience. And I would love to, or I am loving sharing that experience. So that's what I'm doing. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the videos that I've already put up. Most recently, I did one last week, or a couple, I think it was yesterday, I believe. And that video was about, hi, Mr. Cordy. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Um, that video talked about the park that I went to. It was called Library Park, and that's not the official name. The official name, I wrote it down. It's called Biblioteca Boquete. And I know I'm not saying that right because I don't pronounce things correctly, but that is the park. It has 8.75 meters of space there. Hectare of space, and so it has greenland, walking trails, dog walking park. It has the river, the Caldera River, going through it. It has picnic areas. It has great walking space. Unfortunately, I did online. I looked it up, and it said that you could come and ride bikes and everything there, but when we were leaving, we looked at the sign, and the sign said no bikes in the park, no bikes, no skateboards or anything. So that park is a privately funded park. It's privately owned. And so they pretty much can do um, however they want to do the park. So right now, there's no skateboarding, no biking, none of that in the park, but you can hike, you can walk your dog. You can't spend a day in the park. The grass is so pretty, like you would just want to have a blanket and just lay out there all day. I mean, that's how relaxing it is. It's so many different things to look at in that park. I see a couple of people have joined the chat. If you can just say hi, let me know you're here. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat, or um, also, I would like to know, where you're from. Let me know where you're from, and are you interested in moving? Like, is this something you're trying to do? Are you trying to move to another country? Are you considering Panama? Are you considering Boquete? Let me know in the chat. I'm gonna try to answer your questions, but to me, right now I'm looking at this. It looks like I might not be able to see all of the chat questions. I'm not really sure, but hopefully I'll get your questions as you come in. I also wanted to talk a little bit about a topic I did on. So I'm living in Boquete now, and The goal for me here is to try to reduce my cost of living. In Panama City, hi, felt quality from Georgia. Hey, I'm from Georgia. I'm sure you probably already know that. And welcome. Hopefully, I'm not sure if you're coming to Boquete or Panama City, but welcome. Hi, Den from Virginia. Welcome. You're moving here next year, and you're going to be towards Alto Boquete. That's exactly where I am. I love Alto. OMG. It is so beautiful here. Uh, um, what is it? So we're in Alto, but Boquete has a mountain town up a little bit further. For some reason, the name is escaping me. But Boquete is like at the base, kind of at the base of the mountain. You have the Baru um, volcano, which is the basis for everything around here. And we're kind of at the bottom of there. So, are you going to Panama City? Okay. Oh, so felt quality, you're going to Panama City. You're going to love that as well. Um, but Boquete is beautiful. Donna Morgan, how hot is it there? Is it hotter in Alto or other areas? If we move to the area, we would want to be in a cooler place where we don't have to use our air conditioner or have AC. Amen. Girl, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm no man or woman or however, I can't tell who you are, but you're speaking to the choir, preaching to the choir. Yes, that's why I moved here to Alto. It is a lot cooler here than in Panama City. Alto Boquete per se is still a little bit warmer than um, Boquete, the mountain. Hold on, let me get the name of that mountain. For some reason, it's escaping me the top. Edward, what? I'm sorry. Okay, he gave it to me. Bajo. That's where the downtown Boquete. That's Bajo. Okay, I'm in Alto, which is further from downtown. Which the weather. Let me talk a little bit about the temperature. So here, the highs where I am right now, the highs are like the hottest it's been is about 84 degrees. Typically, the weather is between 80, 84, 83 during the day. Um, it can get as low as 77 during the day. At night, it's about 71, 72, 77, somewhere in there. So it stays in the high 70s to the low 80s. Now in Boquete, Bajo, it's cooler there. It's a lot cooler. So, like, say if we're here in Boquete, Alto, we're at 81 degrees. They're like 5 degrees cooler. So that's kind of how I judge it. Where I am is actually 5 degrees warmer than Boquete. So if you look at Boquete's weather and it says it's 61 degrees, then you add 5 degrees to that, and that's where we are in Boquete. So that's how I do that. To me, 84 during the day without air is hot. I'm not even gonna lie to you, it is hot. That's why you see me most of the times when I post, I have on these little tank tops. I mean, it's hot here, so I have on these little tank tops. I do have my fan going up here. I have my dehumidifier over here, and the windows are open. But today is humid. So with humidity, even though the fans are going, it's still kind of warm. So during the day, I find it a little bit challenging, but I've been able to do it. I've done it for a month now. And my goal is not to buy an air conditioner. I can get air, we can buy it if we want to. But my ultimate goal, what I'm trying to do is eventually I want to buy a piece of property here. And at first I didn't think I wanted to live here, but I actually love it here. So I would like to buy a piece of property in Boquete and live minimally, however that is determined by me. Everybody's minimal lifestyle is different. Some people, like to live off grid and all that. I'm not saying I want to do that, but I'm saying I want to live minimally, whatever that would be. So I answered the question, do we have to have air? You don't have to have air, but the closer you get to David, like say you're in Boquete and you're going towards David, there's several places like Las Marinos. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. El Francis. There's several areas that you get to before you get to David. Those areas are warmer. So if you stay in Alto going up towards Boquete, you're in a cooler environment. So let me just say, if you're trying to come here and if you're like when you first get here, I don't know if you want to rent or purchase. For us, we came to rent because we weren't thinking about purchasing. But as I've been here and I start looking at land and stuff like that, it is a possibility that I will purchase um, land here because it's available. So just the FYI. Um, felt quality. Yes, I have visited twice, moving permanently. Okay, awesome. Welcome to the team. Is David hotter from us than the South? Okay, do you mean south of the US? Um, because David, let me give you an example. David is kind of like, I'm gonna say it's similar to Miami type of heat. It's hot and it's not near the water. So you don't, in Panama City is hot as well, but you have the water right there. So it's always a breeze. Um, in Panama City, there's so it's hot there, but you have a breeze. In David, there's no water there. So you don't have that breeze. So it's like sitting in, you're like in the center. So it's hot, it's heavy. So most people who live in David have air. Um, David is really a good place to live if you can deal with, if you want to live with air, because it's very cost effective. Like you can buy a nice home. I've seen homes in David, really nice 3 bedroom, 2 bath homes, rent $650. I've seen one for $500. I'm talking about nice, not like shabby. I'm talking about nice for like US standards, nice. Because they have Panama standards and then they have US standards here. So it just depends on what you're looking for. Let me see, Donna Morgan, how far are you how far am I from? Is it from oh, I'm not that far. I'm like David, I mean, I'm sorry, Boquete or out Bajo Boquete is only like 10, 15 minutes from me. So I was looking at buying something up in Boquete. The cost of land up there is so expensive because it's high expat area because of the temperature. So like you see people kind of sliding down a little bit to how you want to spend your money. Because if you live in Boquete Bajo, you're gonna pay more because it's more expensive there. So it just depends on where you are in your finances and what's important to you. All right. Someone said, Donna, you said to rent to start with, and then we have a dog, so we need a fenced yard. We do too. That is so we were in Panama City. We brought out he was over 20 pounds. So we brought him with us and hold on, my it says my connection is a little bit unstable. Okay, I hope you guys can still hear me. We needed a fence as well, and so like in Boquete, they have a lot of yards that are fenced in because I'm just going to tell you the dogs rule here in Boquete. There are dogs everywhere, and I don't know if it's just I think Panama doesn't do dogs the way we do. Like we keep our dogs on a leash and we keep them in the yard and all. They let the dogs are like people here. So they walk the streets and then they go back home. And so you have strays everywhere. They belong to somebody, but for us, they're strays. So you have to have a fence to protect your own pet from the other the dogs that are just strolling around the neighborhoods, and there's plenty of them. Um, so I gave you an example of the heat in David. It's kind of like Miami, kind of really heavy and thick. Um, I've seen people say that when they live in David in those hotter areas, those electric bills are upwards of 300 or more a month. So I don't know about David electricity, but I can tell you about Panama City electricity. And we lived there for a year, almost a full year, and our electric bills was sky high. I'm talking about our lowest bill for our second apartment was the lowest bill was probably 250. Our bills was running 250, 300, 350 every month. And I'm not gonna lie, we used the air a lot because we were used to air conditioned life. So Panama City is hot. I'm not even gonna lie, it is very hot. So I don't think you can live there without the air. Now, here in Boquete, we're trying to see what the electric bill would be like without air. That is our tester right now. We have not received our first electrical bill. So once we get that bill, and we see where we are, we may not get an error. It just depends. I do want to be comfortable. So like during the day, I am a little bit uncomfortable. So send one error, more than one ingestion. Can you guys still hear me pretty well? Edward, are you still in the chat? Can you hear me? Yeah, Palmera. Okay, good, good, good. Thank you. I've seen people. Okay, so we heard about the electricity bill. They can be high. So in David, I can imagine it. It probably would be. I don't know that for facts, but I do have a friend here, guys, who lives in Los Morinos, which is kind of close to David. And her electric bill, she runs her air. And one month her electric bill was $100, and she was complaining. She was saying that was high. So it leads me to believe that in those areas like David and Los Morinos, it could be a little bit less, but I don't know that for a fact. Just remember, if you need AC for comfort, the price of electricity in Panama can get quite expensive once you use more than yes. And guys, look, we are on a pensionata visa, so we get discounts. And if that's something y'all thinking about with retire, if you're able to retire, or if you have a pension, or you get money coming in every month, you can apply for the pensionata visa. You don't have to be a certain age. You just have to have that pension or that lifetime money coming in. If you get that type of visa, it offers additional discounts. So you get discounts on entertainment. You get 25% off of your electricity bill, which that's we got 25% off our electricity bill. Still was 350. It also allows you to go on excursions here, different things that you can do. Your medications have discounts, your doctor's visits have discounts, all of your food has discounts. So the pensionata visa is how I came in, and so I use that for electricity. Palmera is a great area to people. I am looking at Posarillos. I didn't say that right, Arilla, which I've been to both of those areas, and they are absolutely gorgeous. You know what? I can't say anything bad about this area in general. Just if you go up to Palmera, you in Boquete, Vulcan, you in Boquete, you in what's the other area he said? Porterellas, Ariba, and I didn't say that right. But anyway, there are so many different areas in Panama in general. So I only talk about two, Panama City and Boquete. But there are so many. I can't even cover half of them, but they have beautiful areas. So, Dean, welcome. I seen a video of someone that said that they estimate your first few bills, that when they get it, they read the bill, it's like $1,200 because the apartment house was empty. Um, Let me tell you my experience about the electricity and what I've heard from several people here. You can get an apartment in Panama City, and this is going to be related only to Panama City right now because I don't have any experience to draw from Boquete yet. But you can be in your apartment for 3 months. You get your electricity bill, it's like $70, $100, $50, and you're like, okay, cool. At month 4, I promise you, most of us have been getting an electric bill that's like 1,100, 1,200, 700. I know somebody who got a $1,600 bill. And what I think is going on is that they're not actually reading your meter like they say they are, or they're reading the meter and we're getting charged because I hate to say that because I don't know that to be the case. But there are several people that got charged a lot of money for electricity. I don't know how to fix that, to be honest with you, because it happened to us. We had a 3 months time in our bill. Our bill was like 750. So yes, that's for the first electric bill. We went there a little over a month ago. This is for Donna, and got our visa. Awesome. We're waiting on the pensionata version to come in a couple of months as we're back in the U.S. getting ready for our yes. Can I just tell y'all? I haven't really talked about my background moving to Panama and all the stuff I went through to get here, but I was in the same boat like Miss Donna, I was well, actually, I don't know what your working life is, but I was still working, and we was living in our house in McDonough, Georgia, and we decided we wanted to move to Panama. So we put our we discussed it. We were like, okay, let's put our house on the market. We came to Panama in January. My husband was in the military, so he had been to Panama before. I had never been to Panama, but I had wanted to go. I had did research on retirement, and this was one of the places. So we visited for the very first time in January for me. That was his birthday. We decided in January, yes, we can do this. February, for my birthday, we came back and we started our visa process in February. We had only been here in January. February, we started our visa process. Everything went smooth. We got our visa. March, we came back in March and we secured an apartment in March. We put our house on the market in March and it sold in May, and it sold May 25th, and we was here on the 27th. So everything kind of just worked out the way it was supposed to. So yeah, just want to share a little bit about that. Um, even without the pension, not a discount, prices are inexpensive to begin with for drugs, entertainment, travel. Yes, thank you, B. Wallen. You are so right about that. Everything is less expensive. Well, let me just say, everything can be less expensive. It really depends on your lifestyle and how, I don't want to say bougie, but how bougie you are. Because really, us from the United States, we are bougie because we used to a certain level of living. It's just how it is. So when you come here, you have to really understand what you want and be able to price that up. Because when I came here, I started off real expensive. I mean, real cheap. We started with a one bedroom, $900 a month. It was like, okay, that's good. So we moved to a luxury apartment. That was way over the top. $1,800 a month with that $350 electric bill, eating out, partying, going on trips. It just was not a retirement lifestyle. It was a vacation lifestyle. So I had to like reel that back in and figure out a way where I can live minimally and still enjoy my life. So Panama City wasn't it for me. It wasn't. Um, so Donna, how did you fly your dog over? Were you told you need to fly out of Orlando, put him in the crate under the plane? Absolutely. That's exactly what we had to do. We had to drive from Georgia to Orlando because no Delta flight left out of, or no flight actually left out of Atlanta going to Panama. So we had to go to Orlando, which was that's the flight that was leaving out to Panama, Delta. So we went to Orlando. He was in the cargo underneath the plane. It was a whole traumatic experience. But just if you have to do it, I just want you to realize that everything will be okay. It was okay for us. We were just scared. He was young, he had never traveled before. He was by himself. So there was a lot of anxiety for us. And it was anxiety for him too. But once it was over, everything worked out fine. We did everything we were supposed to. Just make sure that you have all your paperwork in line. The way they tell you to do it exactly like that. Don't skip anything, because the problem is when you get to the airport, you got all these different. You got something you need to do in Orlando. You got something you need to do when you get to Panama. You got to have your vet see your pet in Panama when you arrive. So there's steps to this thing at every point. As long as you follow your plan, you'll be okay. Because we did it. So I hope that answers your question. If you have more additional questions, just send them to me. I'll be happy to answer. And did you have to quarantine him for the rental home wherever you were in Panama for 40 days before you could even walk him outside? So we did quarantine him for 40 days, but you do not have to keep him in the house for 40 days. You just need to keep him away from other dogs for 40 days and keep him close by where you live. So, like, say if he has to go outside, you take him to one area and keep him in that area, right? And just make sure he's by himself and not around the other dogs, and keep him away from a lot of trees and stuff like that, like grass and stuff, just until he gets past his time of being here. Because what I find is that the dogs that come here, they end up getting a virus from either being outside, being around other dogs, or just being in this environment. So when you get here, don't be shocked if he has a little diarrhea, a little vomiting, because we had that issue, but he wasn't sick. He didn't get sick. We did quarantine him for 40 days, but we did take him outside. We did. And we actually took him. You're going to be so happy when you get here for your pet care because there is a pet care place on every corner. And when I tell you, it's like $15 for a dog haircut. It's unbelievable. They'll do like a haircut, earplug. They'll trim the nails, do something to the feet, cut all that, and it'd be like $21. And you, when we first did that, me and my husband was looking at each other like, that can't be right. Yes, it's right. So your dog is very affordable here. Your electricity might not be, but your dog is. So um, that's a little bit of me. I did want to just mention a little bit about my background. I am a nurse by trade. My last nursing job was with the VA. I was a VA nurse for 13 years. I actually retired from the VA. I am not old enough to retire, you know. I needed to work till I was 65, actually. I am 58. So I retired early. So most people want to know, like, how did I end up, what did I do to retire early? So the only thing I did was because I had the age, it worked for me. I was over 50, I think 55 or something like that. So I was able to take a modified retirement. So I took an early retirement. It was called the MRA plus 10. So at least you do your 10 years and then you get your pension. It's a small pension, but for me, with all of the trauma that I was going through being a nurse with the VA, I felt like for my mental health, it was just better for me to take a pay cut. And I took a big pay cut, like a huge, because nursing, we make a decent salary. But when you retire from that, you take a big pay cut. So my lifestyle had to kind of match that pay cut. So I did leave my job early and retired and then moved over here. We liquidated everything. We sold everything, our house, our cars, any property that we had. The only thing that we kept is we have a trailer, a travel trailer. So we have because we were doing a lot of camping before we left the States. We travel all over and camp. So we kept our camper so that when we go to the States, we'll have a place to stay. Or God forbid something happens here and we have to go back, we'll have a tiny home to live in. You know what I mean? I don't think, I'm not like thinking that will happen, but you never know what life brings to you. So you just always have to have a plan for whatever you do. Um, Love to hear there are pet pharmacies. Um, I don't, they probably do. I think that, yeah, you're right. They do have pet pharmacies. They do. You're right. And then do you think it's better to get a local bank or should you just keep USSA and transfer money there? That's a great question. So I think you should keep your USAA bank and also, get a bank account here, and transfer. I would like I have a bank account here and I have my bank account in the US. And I have three accounts. I have a bank account here, I have a bank account in the US, Bank of America, and I have a Chase. The reason why I picked Chase is because they pay you back for your ATM withdrawals. So like it costs you to withdraw your money here. It's like 750, I think, and that's just for their ATM. You got to pay your bank too. So I had to find a way that I could get those costs back. So Chase will pay you back for that. I don't know if USAA will do that, but you want to consider banks that might help you with your pulling your money out. I don't know about like putting a large sum of money here in Panama just because the banks here are not FDI insured, and if you lose your money, you just lose your money. So how can you keep Donna? How can you keep your bank account in the U.S. when you no longer have a U.S. address for it? Okay, I still have a U.S. address. So um, if you don't have a U.S. address, you can. So like, say for instance, you move here and you want to buy stuff from the U.S. You need a way to get your stuff to Panama. So you will either use RF Imports or a company like that, Red or Blue. they give you a US address, a Miami address. So your Miami address can be your US address, or if you have a family member or someone who you know who lives in the States, you can use their address. You're always going to be a US citizen unless you denounce your US citizenship. So we're still paying taxes. I'm retired, but I still pay taxes in the US. So, and I still have my US address, so I can use my bank there. So there's ways around stuff. So if you have any further questions about that, just send me a message and we can kind of talk about it. But that's kind of how we do it. I don't know if there's anything illegal against that, but that's kind of what I've been doing for banking. I'm really kind of scared to put my money all over here just because I'm not sure with all this international how money scandals and I think in the past Panama has had some issues with like money laundering or something. So they're very strict here. Like when it comes to opening up a bank account and all that, they kind of ask for like your mom's hour of birth. You know what I mean? They're kind of strict. So like I would just kind of to make it simple, it's probably easier if you just keep the bank that you've been dealing with, especially if you got pension and money going into that bank. You really don't want to mess with that and try to have your pension and stuff come into another country. I don't know if I would feel comfortable doing that, but everybody's different. So it just depends on what your comfort level is. Dan, hi Dan. I was worried about getting my VA direct deposited into a Panama bank. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I get my money direct deposit too from the VA because I'm and because that's how I get my pension. I would be really skeptical about sending my money here just because of the times we in right now. Everything is so unsure that I wouldn't want to like send my money away from the U.S. just right now, right? Um, we have a mailbox service in Florida, yes, but told that we can't get our health insurance for Medicare Advantage through. Oh, you have to have an address. So when you sell our house, we're not okay. So you got to have a physical address. That's a little bit different than having some of these companies, maybe not your mailbox service, but some of these other companies, they offer you a regular address instead of a P.O. box. Is that, or instead of like a mailbox, it gives you a regular address. I'm trying to think, how can you, yeah, that might be I don't know about the insurance like that with Medicare. That might be something different because I haven't experienced that. So I don't have any experience to draw from that. But you know what? I'm going to write that down and ask somebody who might know that question. We started a swab account because you can transfer it over, yeah, and then use it to get money. The place we use gives us a regular address, but it's flagged as a mailbox service. And so, Donna, you don't have any family that would that I don't know how that work with insurance though, with the Medicare Advantage. Yeah, that might be something I might have to do a little research on that because I'm unfamiliar with how that will work. But I'm gonna look that up and see what I can find out. Thanks for those questions. Those are great questions. Also, I want to find out real quick before we end the live. I think it ends a little. I can let it last for long. But if you have any suggestions for topics that you want to hear, because I'm doing a topic right now. Like I try to keep everything related to Panama and Boquete and you know retirement lifestyle, um, renewing your life. But I do have a topic that is very important to me that I'm gonna talk about next week, and it is Gen X, which I am. Gen X doing YouTube. A lot of people feel uncomfortable with YouTube, like doing a channel. But I think Gen Xers we have a good knowledge base. So that's a whole nother issue that I'm gonna talk about. How safe is it and how much crime is there in that area? We keep hearing about break-ins. Okay, so I heard a little bit about some break-ins, like petty crime as well here. Not anything like very violent, but some petty crime. So you have to think about where you are. You're in Panama with a lot of people who don't make a lot of money, a lot of low income people, and then you have people from the U.S. or Canada or expats coming in with all this money, buying up all the properties in their area which they can't afford. So they're going to use opportunity. So if that's like in any place where low income people live, they don't make it, so they'll take it. That's kind of how it is. So what people do here is you'll notice that they do fencing around their houses, gated most times. They have bars on the window, and I don't know if it's necessarily for theft or for style in Panama, because I see it in areas that don't necessarily need bars, but hey, it could just be, it's a deterrent, right? It could just be a deterrent. So I would say for your home gate, fit bars on your window. If you have a pet, that's a plus. If you don't have a pet, alarm for your petty theft, and be cognizant. Just pay attention. Lock your, a lot of people here don't lock their doors. They still sleep with their doors open. That's kind of lifestyle this is. So you have a lot of opportunities so for people. So if you hear petty crime, sometimes it may be that they just had the opportunity to do it. Because sometimes we have to just pay attention to what we're doing to make sure that we don't set it up for other people to just come in and take our stuff. And that's kind of what's going on here. So if you give them opportunity, they will take it. Swab account, that's good. I like Swab. Um, so hopefully this live was beneficial. I'm not gonna keep you guys all night. I just wanted to come on here and touch bases with you. What I'm gonna try to do is do a live every Sunday around the same time, so that I could get into the habit of coming on here, talking to you guys, getting some of your feedback, maybe understanding some of the things that maybe you're wanting from me, and then, so I could keep it like beneficial for everybody. Um, Nobody with a brain leaves their door open in Boquete. Break-ins aren't petty theft. I've seen several people with their doors open. And I've talked to several people in Boquete that do leave their doors open. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the people Mr. Beach BM, um, with a brain. They may have. I don't know. That might be. I don't know. I just know that I've talked to several people that still leave their doors unlocked. I wouldn't do it, but there are people here who do it. Um, and petty theft, what I mean petty theft, I mean taking items, like not by gunpoint, just take it, because what they're doing is they're taking physical stuff. Like, so they'll break in and take your TV, or they'll take like something in your yard. That's what I mean by petty theft. When I mean, I armed robbery is something serious. So that's why I'm calling it petty. But you kind of look at it the way you want to look at it. It's not, they're not armed robberies here like that. Your life is not in jeopardy like that. You're not walking around here worried about getting shot and all that for your stuff. Yeah, somebody might try to take your stuff, or somebody bump into you, take your wallet or something, but nobody is like robbing you, like going up to you holding a knife and taking stuff. They don't, that's not happening here. Are you allowed to change the locks on the rental house if you're in a house? It has a grill in the windows. You wouldn't know who has the keys. You know what? That's a good question. I think you can, but I don't know 100%. So I can find that out. But I don't see why. I'm gonna find that out. Can you change the locks? That's a good question. I have never had that happen. So I'll ask that question to my realtor to see if that's something that they do here. So anyway, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the live. Please give me suggestions on what you think I can do better, or what topics you want me to cover. And hopefully, I will see you guys on next Sunday. Um, and we'll talk again. Thank you so much for coming to my live. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining my channel. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you so much for tuning in when you do, giving me likes and all that. Um, and I do have where now I'm going to start doing like uh, top fans and stuff like that. It's just my channel has grown a little bit more, so I can offer more things. So that's coming, not today, but it's coming. So I hope you guys have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. And I want to thank you guys, all my new subscribers. Thank you if you're here. If you're not here and you're going to come tune in later, please let me know where you're from and that you're here. And thank you for coming to my live. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.